Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Welcome to the Bleacher Report post game. The Texas side of the house, the Texas stream, as number one ranked Texas goes down to Ohio State in the shoe, 14-7. Very tight defensive battle. A game in which both teams, young quarterbacks, trying to protect their quarterbacks, a lot of field position, you know, uh, the physicality I thought was fantastic on both sides. But the story of this game is the struggles of Arch Manning in his first road start. First start, obviously, up against a big time opponent in Ohio State. Rematch from the Combo. We all know the background and the storyline there, but the struggles that Arch had today from the opening possession that Texas had, starting out rolling bootleg, and he has a pretty much layup throw to DeAndre Moore, and he throws a dirt ball, and you could tell that comfort just never got there. I thought later in the game, obviously the Parker Livingstone touchdown and some plays within the 2 minute drill where he showed some athleticism. Obviously he did make some throws, but one of the key ones was obviously the ending the game on a turnover on downs, that 3rd and 5 crosser to Ryan Wingo where the ball's just not on him, right, and he throws behind. Too much of that today versus his counterpart on the other side, Julian Sayin, who was very sharp, very calm, wasn't asked to do much, managed the football game, managed his team, took shots when they needed. Obviously, the big shot they took to Carnell Tate to expand it up to 2 scores was impressive, right? And they got up 14-0. It was enough margin for Ohio State to hang on and win this football game. The Texas defense was outstanding today, outside of a couple penalties and some, the big busts that Texas had with Jalen Gilbo at the end. I mean, they were really outstanding. Even getting the ball back to Arch and that offense to have multiple opportunities in this game. And one of the things that we will look back at, there's a lot of lessons learned, by the way. I'll get into the lessons learned because there's a whole football season left to go. And I think there's going to be, as I'm seeing some in the comments here, there's going to be a lot of overreaction. Keep in mind that he just went up against one of the best defenses in the country, the defending reigning national champs, and in his own first road start, his first time as a starter, working with a lot of new personnel. This was not all Arch's fault. The receivers had their challenges today. We know we had some pre-snap issues today, and Steve Sarkisian was completely outdueled by Matt Patricia today. Matt Patricia's group was very buttoned up. They made all of the right timely plays down, especially in the red zone area, which we know has been a consistent struggle for Steve Sarkisian and this Texas group. For, even with all the success that Texas has had, making the college football playoffs, being in conference championship games, all the things that Texas has, they have still been just been brutal in the red zone area. And multiple opportunities in this game today in the red zone where they don't cash in. The touchdown they get is on, from outside, right? But you're getting down to the 1 yard line 2 games in a row versus Ohio State where you're not able to push the ball in past that goal line. That is obviously credit to Ohio State. A lot of those guys that were on the goal line stand in the playoff game, the Kenyatta Jacksons of the world, the Caden Currys of the world, those guys were also on the field today, right? And then you obviously have Caleb Downs, who I thought played a sensational football game. Jermaine Matthews was great today. Their secondary balled out. And so all that credit goes to them. That was very difficult for Arch and this offense to navigate. I'm surprised a little bit because the Texas offensive line wasn't as bad as or as inexperienced and struggled as I thought they were. Honestly, I mean, they held up very good in pass protection for the most part. Ohio State did get pressure when they needed it, especially at the end of the game, obviously sending a corner heater and getting Arch to get rid of the ball early. Jack Andrews is short of the first down. But I really was impressed with those young guys, what they were able to get going in the run game. I thought Texas ran the ball for as much as they've struggled running the ball in big games. They actually ran the ball pretty well, especially between the 20s. We know that running, again, Ohio State situationally, defensively, was much better against the run once they got into, you know, inside the 5 yard line, things of that sort. So Arch is growing pains. This is growing pains, and I think that there's a lot to learn, a lot that Matt Patricia did, a lot that they've learned about themselves, a lot that these receivers are going to have to go back and say, why weren't we able to get separation? If we had some of the time we had in the pocket, why weren't we able to, get easier throws, right? Get easier opportunities, so a lot to be studied. I do think a lot, the big questions will be about Arch and the hype and all of these things. And there's really nothing he's going to be able to do about it until really October when they have to start SEC play against Florida. I think Arch and them will get back on track the month of September, having 3 non-conference tune-up games to get their offense going. But so does, Ohio State has those opportunities too, right? That's why this game was kind of a weird big time one-off, because Ohio State's going to have those opportunities to get Julian Sand and those guys all the way dialed and up to speed. They came in here with a very conservative but very smart game plan to win this game. And again, like I said, in all of the prep I did this week here on Bleacher Report, one of the things I mentioned was Ohio State being able to play with a lead and Texas trying to disrupt that. Can Texas play with a lead? Obviously, that was not the case today with the struggles that they had offensively. And Texas didn't play the best of complementary football. I would say that the special teams, obviously Jack Bowmeister, the punter, the transfer punter from Utah, was planting the ball, just making Ohio State play out of their own end zone. Again, defensively, we were able to get stops, pressure, and get Ohio State off the field, but wasn't enough today. So let me check out these comments here, because I know you guys have a lot of thoughts. I know there's going to be a lot of Arches. I like this one from Pork Chop. Very practical. Texas is fine. I think Arch is going to be fine. I'm more so concerned about the consistent issues that we've had year over year in terms of the red zone, in terms of, Sark really it seemed like he was out of ideas to where they're running so much quarterback run game. I wasn't expecting that. And as athletic and the mobility that Arch brings, that's not where you want to live, where he turns into Sam Ehlinger. That's not productive for us. And then on top of that, the quarterback sneak, doing it the second time in the game at the 1 yard line, was very, very, very costly. Ohio State was clearly prepared for that look. And it just seems as though one of the issues we have in red zone is, in big games, our opponent seems to be a step ahead of what we're calling. If we want to run a sweep to the outside, they have leverage to the outside. If we want to run inside, we're not able to get enough of a push, or they create a stalemate. We're throwing into very tight windows. We're not able to get any type of run pass option looks to where we can, have a pretty easy conversion. You look at Ohio State, when they got to the goal line, they were able to hammer the ball in. That's a big difference in this game. And a game that is decided by one score, 14-7, Ohio State wins, and a game that's decided by one score, they were able to get the ball in and punch the ball in on 4th and goal. The difference is we have 4th and goal, we go quarterback sneak, stuffed. So this is something psychologically as well that Texas has to figure out as they try to have this breakthrough. This breakthrough to try to win a national championship. But today wasn't good enough. And you know what it takes. It's definitely Richard Gere, I agree, very eye-opening experience for them. Especially the young guys that are out there. Think about, I know I'm not putting that last ball on Ryan Wingo, but Ryan Wingo had an up and down game today. There was times where, the reverse and the skinny post that he caught, where it's like, okay, we're getting the ball to our guy, but it's not enough. And I thought he did struggle against these Ohio State DBs. Who wouldn't? These guys are, those DBs go up against the Infinity Stones on the offense every single day, and you could tell with their lack of panic when the ball's in the air, and how well they had everything covered throughout the day. But these Texas receivers, Parker Livingstone, if he's going to continue to play, obviously getting his first career touchdown, getting his first real action in this environment, can only learn and continue to go up from here, right? Couple other positives. Cedric Baxter Jr. is, while he's not the most explosive breakaway runner, he is back, right? He was able to play, contributed in the pass game as well as the run game. I thought he looked pretty healthy for somebody coming off ACL that I thought was coming back. I don't think he's still 100% per se, but I thought he played very admirably. Him and Trey Wisner, I thought they both ran the ball as well as they could, all things considered. I mean, if you look at the total output for today versus what they did in the Cotton Bowl, right? Obviously, Baxter wasn't there, but today, Wisner goes 16 carries, 80 yards. That's not bad against the team. I mean, that's 5 yards a carry. That's not bad at all against a team like this. He ran very hard. They ran for 166 yards as a group, 4.5 yards per carry. That includes Arch and the 38 yards he also added on the ground. So the ground game is promising. I mean, they didn't have any explosive runs, runs over 20 yards, but they were productive and moving, especially the most productive, where for them was between the 20s. But when we get in the red zone, that's where a lot of the frustrations come into play. Defensively, Leon Leifau, outstanding game. I think he had 12 plus tackles, they credit him for 9. I felt like he was all over the place. I thought Manny Muhammad was outstanding today. The freshman Grayson Littleton. So these are the things that are very promising that are going to get lost in all of the Arch talk and all of the how far does Texas fall, and people being right in August. Sure, go off. Y'all got it right now. But there's a lot of promising stuff that we did see today against high-level competition that I think are confidence builders, especially for a lot of the young guys that played on defense. I like the way Jelani McDonald tackled in space today. I don't think Anthony Hill played his best game today. I will say that. I thought Leon Leifau was a lot more dominant with what he was asked to do than what Anthony Hill was. I think Anthony Hill's best ball is still coming, but wasn't a great game for him today. Gilbo was okay until obviously the Carnell Tate 50-yard bomb, which it's tough, but you can't give those big plays up. And I know it was a double catch and everything, and he was recovering, but that was a tough break for us there situationally. And here's the other thing too. People talk about us playing a young quarterback. Give credit to Ryan Day. Give credit to Brian Hartline and the Ohio State coaching staff for being very strategic with Julian Sains' pass attempt opportunities. A lot of, whether it was max protect or when they went empty, they got the ball out very, very quickly. So there wasn't these just, even on third and longs, they were very measured in how they handled themselves versus our pass rush. We have to be honest. And I felt as though, while obviously it was turning into field position battles and punting and whatnot, they did avoid him getting hit a whole bunch, negative plays. They played really smart game management football. They played Big Ten football today. Let's keep it a buck. This is like Ohio State versus Iowa. This game actually reminded me of the Ohio State-Penn State game last year when Drew Aller and Bo Pribula were not able to complete passes to their receivers. And they also got that. Ohio State also had a goal line stand with them. This game was eerily similar to that for me. But a lot of lessons to learn. It sucks losing to the same opponent twice. I mean, within the last 2 years, Texas is now 0-4 versus Ohio State and Georgia. Those are our losses over the last couple of years. So, but if we want to be the champs, we got to beat the champs, and we weren't able to beat the champs today. And for a lot of the game, Ohio State looked like the better coached team. Not that Texas looked poorly coached, right? Please understand where I'm coming from with this. Texas only had 6 penalties, I think, for 50 yards. This wasn't some sort of, but if we were good, they were great. That's where I'm going, right? If as buttoned up as we were defensively, they were a little bit more buttoned up on their end. Now, we also made, we as in Texas made more mistakes, right? More self-inflicted issues that comes with playing on the road in a difficult environment as well. We have to keep that in mind. The atmosphere definitely, at least to me, felt like an advantage for Ohio State. That's as clear as it could be. But Ohio State was buttoned up, especially in key moments. The only time I thought Ohio State really did something to beat themselves was when they gave Texas that the ball back when Julian Sain threw the ball on the ground and instead of like sliding to keep the clock running. That was the one kind of door opening moment that I felt like, okay, Ohio State's going to let us creep back in here. Maybe we can come in and try to push this thing to overtime and steal it, right? But that's the mindset we had to be in because they had us up against the wall defensively. And so just tough sledding across the board. I'm trying to get to y'all's comments here. Our lineman went too slow. I appreciate this comment from Silver's Bullets. As an Ohio State fan, Texas is a really good team. They will grow from this. I think both of these teams are very, very good. And, the scary thing with Ohio State is they're only going to get better. They played a lot of young guys. Devin Sanchez was out there on defense today for them. I think both of these teams are going to get better. I think both of these teams, early on, who scheduled Ohio State? Well, we got to look at it this way. These games were scheduled way, way in advance. So I get it. I get it. But these games were scheduled years in advance. And we didn't say that. Let's be fair. I mean, we took a L, but we didn't ask that question when we started. Now granted, the other games were the second game of the season, like Michigan, the Alabama games, whereas this game was the first game of the season. I do definitely think that makes a difference. I definitely think if Texas, let's say we play at Ohio State week 2 and we have a game to really figure out and get the pass game really clicking with this group, with behind this line, because they weren't in any type of flow at all. And we rotated. If you look at left guard, we rotated Neto and Connor Stroh. There was like Dalen McCutcheon got some snaps today. They just seemed like they were kind of searching for stuff. They played both of the main backs, but they were really just kind of searching for stuff. But the bottom line is Arch never got comfortable. Never at one point in this game was he comfortable. And it's interesting because Ohio State played a lot of coverage. They were very judicious in when they sent their heaters. And when they did, they were effective, in my opinion. There was one where they sent a corner heater, and I think it was number 8 who ended up with the sack, or at least it was Averill Reese, where he acts like he's going to fake it, to the flats to basically replace the space the corner left, and he does like a half turn, and then he goes behind as a delay blitzer. That was just creativity in their scheme by Matt Patricia. I got to give credit to them. Nah, I'm not gonna Aggie veteran. Look, I know you're here to just rub it in right now. That's fine, but Let's not tell lies. That ball that he threw to Parker Livingstone on the touchdown, that was a good football. That was a good throw, good catch. Arch showed flashes in this game. It wasn't all bad. Statistically, yeah, I mean, this is not good enough, right? 17 to 30 for a $170, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. It's not going to get it done. 5.7 yards per attempt. It's not going to get it done. 38 yards on the ground, a lot of negative plays, a lot of just misses. Not going to get it done. But he did show some flashes. The throw on the sideline where they dropped in the window to Jack Injuries down the field where we thought we were going to get moving again before they ultimately stopped us and won the game was an NFL caliber throw. So you see, people see what they want to see. And I think that people have been waiting for Arch because that opportunity didn't come last year when Arch did play. And so people have been waiting for years for him to finally have this to look human and have this moment where they can say, see, you're right. He's only getting credit because of his last name, or I don't see why he's so special and blah, blah, blah. And today that was not the case. Today he looked like an average young college quarterback. But that's on Sark and Arch and all of them to get right in September. And I think that they still have an opportunity with this defense, knowing they have a special defense and knowing that they have special teams now. They should look to transform themselves to be a totally different team on the road when they go to Gainesville. Don't let this loss turn into multiple losses. Now, granted, you have really these tune-up games coming. No disrespect to these guys, but you should go into Gainesville during the SEC opener now knowing what it takes to communicate on the road, to be sharp, and to get comfortable early. Like let this loss be a lesson forward. Let this loss be a lesson forward. If you're in that locker room right now, if you're on the coaching staff, if you're a player on the team, that has to be the mindset. Because here's the thing, as bad as everything was going today, as difficult as it was, you still had the ball at the end of the game to go and tie it at the shoe against one of the best teams in the country, probably the best defense you'll see all season. You had an opportunity. So they have to put a lot of that stuff behind them. Learn from this, but this isn't sky is falling, type stuff right now. We've lost back-to-back games to the national champs and very tight quarters. But Ohio State, Ryan Day, they win games for a reason. They win games for a reason. The talent that they have, they should have dominated. I think both teams are equally talented. I think there's immense talent on both sides. Look, Jeremiah Smith didn't have his best game today. He had 2 drops. And that's one of the premier players in college football. It's one of the faces of college football right now. He had 2 drops today. Ohio State ran the ball for only 77 yards. They had a lot of, granted, there were some kneel downs in there, but they didn't even run for 100 yards, but they stuck with it. And Julian Sand threw for 126 yards, but did enough. He did enough, and they got him comfortable enough to pull this ball game out. It sucks that you're going to take a loss to a team that's all the offense they really produced. They produced 1 explosive play on you. You didn't give up a plus 10-yard run the whole day. And the other touchdown drive came really off of lack of discipline with Colin Simmons and the face mask penalty where you were coming off the field. That was the other touchdown they gave up. So it's frustrating if that's all you gave up, that you're telling me we lost that game. That's frustrating. That's frustrating. So got to get back to the drawing board. Nobody's going to care. I mean, I will say this from a national perspective, Arch could go out there and throw for 6 touchdowns versus San Jose State next week, and 5 touchdowns versus UTEP, and 5 touchdowns versus Sam Houston. No one's going to care until the Florida game. But from a internal standpoint and a Texas standpoint and a confidence standpoint, and getting this offense on the proper comms and really humming passing wise, Sark, Arch, and these receivers got to figure it out, because I think Texas is going to be able to run the ball. I think there was some promise there, and I thought the pass pro was fine today. But this passing game being as putrid as it was today is on all of them. It's not just on Arch. It's not just on the receivers. It's on all of them. Sark, I don't think Sark did them a whole lot of favors today, to be honest with you. I thought Ryan Day and Brian Hartline did more to get easier stuff for their guys than Sark and AJ Milwee and Kyle Flood did for their offensive guys going against Matt Patricia. I think that was a big key difference in this game was some of the coaching. And I think you saw it play out situationally. Red zone, goal line, and also how Ohio State did not penalize themselves too much at their goal line. The one penalty that happened, Texas also got called for hands to the face and negated it, or else that would have been a safety. So when you're playing teams like this, the margin is so slim of what you can get away with. Mediocre teams, even good teams, you can get away with stuff like that with Texas, with the talent that Texas has. You can get away with stuff like that. No, Taft played well today. I know his name wasn't getting called, but I'm going to push back on that. I thought Taft, the communication we had, him getting guys lined up, our pass defense was pretty good. Again, Ohio State, once they got the lead, was able to be very, very conservative and just manage the game. So we have to take that into consideration. But Taft and them did a good job with what they did face, in my opinion. Anthony Hill did not play great today. I'm right there with you. I don't know what he was really doing on the goal line one either. But, and then Simmons was getting pressure. I know we're frustrated by the face mask penalty, but I thought Colin Simmons was actually, I was seeing him flash, right? And there was a couple times where they actually had a bust in their blocking assignments, and he almost took Sands' head off on a screen pass. So, there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, when people are going max protect or they're throwing the ball within a second of the snap, how much opportunity do you have post snap as a pass rusher? I mean, let's be honest. DJ Boone said, relax. That was a top 10 pass defense today. Arch was pressing. Yes, he was. I agree. O-line was good. I agree. Clean pockets. He was not setting his feet, missing open receivers to lose on the road by one score when you have multiple opportunities. Chances is the best loss you could ask for. I'm not into moral victories. Not that I'm saying what you're saying is a moral victory per se, but I agree. I think Arch definitely pressed today. DJ Boone. A lot to learn from. This was best on best today. And this is the first time a lot of these guys on Texas have gone against somebody other than their own selves. Some of our younger guys, some of our newer faces. And some people, I mean, again, I'll end on a positive. There was a lot of guys, the Grayson Littletons of the world responded. People were worried about Manny Muhammad coming in the season. He's clearly upped his game. Played well today. Thought the safeties played well today. all things considered. There wasn't a whole lot of work for them, but the stuff they did get, they played well. Holding Ohio State to 14 points in Columbus with this group, you have to have a very good defense and some special people to do that. That's not going to be the case all season when Ohio State's playing people, even some of the good teams that they'll see. So Texas can hang their hat on that. But Arch and this group, they've got to go 0 dark 30. Don't listen to the outside noise. It's one football game, one game against one of the best groups in the country. There's so much to learn from, and stay connected with the people that are really, really in your camp, your coaches, staff, your teammates, and his uncles. His uncles have had crappy games, right? I mean, Peyton was notorious for having some of these type of games against the Floridas of the world. I remember a game he had like this against Nebraska. So you gotta bounce back. You gotta bounce back. I do think though, by mid-season, this team really should be humming. Next 3 weeks are scrimmages before Florida. Baker, yeah, those are things they can clean up. Brandon Baker, I mean, today was his first start on the road. Absolutely want to clean up the pre-snap stuff and some of the tendencies that you may not even be aware of until now you've seen it in a game. I'm curious to see what the evaluation will also be between Connor Stroh and Neto, how they played. Trevor Gooseby was out there playing injured, and still I didn't see a whole lot of noise coming from the left side. So as well as I thought they did a great job in their run blocking stuff for the most part, saw a better push than a lot of times we had last year. So there's some good takeaways and things that we can build from. As you can see, I'm a big Texas fan, but I'm not down. I'll admit we lost. We lost to a better team. We've lost to them twice now. It sucks. But I'm not down on this team at all. I'm not down on this team at all. We have work to do. And it's very obvious what our weaknesses are right now. It's very obvious. And yeah, I do have questions and concerns with Sark's play calling and adjustments in these big games against these type of coaches. But we have to get there to see once he can overcome that or prove us wrong. Right. So I appreciate you guys. Again, this is Steven with Fanatic Perspective. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Fanatic Perspective. I'll be back on Monday after we've rewatched the game. I'll be back here on Bleacher Report on Monday with some more posts, more measured post analysis as we look at things. But the sky's not falling. I feel good about this season. I still think that Texas can go and contend and compete for the SEC, but they have got to improve offensively, and Arch has to get comfortable and really just into this role as the quarterback for the University of Texas and what that means, especially with the national spotlight. So once they get comfortable, measured up, I think the sky's the limit for this team. There's still a lot of talent, young talent on this team, a lot of guys that are going to play. So come check me out. I'll have some more post-game stuff over on my side, but I appreciate everybody tapping in here in the Bleacher Report app. Chime in with your thoughts in the comments on how you felt about today's game and what you want to see Texas improve on as they go into the rest of their non-conference schedule before they start SEC play against Florida in October. Appreciate you guys. Horns always up. Hook 'em.